Welcome back, guys. I'm so excited to jump into this game. I saw some YouTubers play it, and it just looks so good. And speaking of YouTube, thanks so much for helping my channel get to over 300 subscribers. That's awesome. And now, I'm just gonna jump into this game. It is episodic, so there's only episode 1 available right now, but the wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twinned in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with its inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, wrestling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12, after all. Still. Hey, put away your book. How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. I could hide this. Or I could not. I wonder how long this can go on. Apparently I'm giving no other option. Alright, we gotta listen to Mom. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. Oh hey, that's what my husband's playing right now. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Costu Odyssey. I'm so butchering that, I'm so sorry. But I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is. Very. Or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I just say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this? Carved on the other side of the table. Khepna. Karina. Ha! That's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would have scolded me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age, sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagine my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed where Olia sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice. Taiga is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you are a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. But if you are a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you underground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. Man, I get you don't want to put that burden on your family, but also to just go ahead and just, oh, yep, got my funds, got my coin purse, got my casket, let's go. It was it was black, upholstered with neat colored material on the inside. I saw it where my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with the grave faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookies, and she was looking at my share like a sly woodland creature. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pine outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of the frost formed a picture on the glass. Oh, how cute! Olia, look, it's a fox. Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion thingies they put in the back of student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle... No, not outside. On the window. Look, here's a nose, and here's... Hey, eat up. Yeah, just a moment. I would not have gotten away saying something like that. I don't see anything. Hurry up. Hurry up, there's not much left. Ah, there it is. But it still doesn't look like one. And I'm telling you it does. Nuh-uh. It does. Stop it. These kids, I swear. No, I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty patterns, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping up on the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. It is a very nice beard. Look at that jawline. My mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off, it stings." This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and woody combats were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, "What's the point in all this?" through the wall. "This is all for your sake," Dad would reply, "for the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. D-I-V-O. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families. Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window. You and your owl talk again. You said you believed me just yesterday. Has anybody seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windowsill. Well, there's your first mistake, Dad. Right. Maybe you did, and maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of two, and still... Karina, please, stop. Just let me get ready in peace. Your keys are in the basket, near the phone. Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a martyr of yourself and finish eating already. And the owl? There was no owl. But there was one. It had giant glowing eyes. Olia sprang from her chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers, the each of an apple each. Last year, you had Babai in your closet, and now this owl? But I saw it. Olia shifted her gaze back and forth, from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it imaginary mice? Don't bully our girl. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olia pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Look at that. This woman is tired and done. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed, and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad had already glued together once. It's so easy to fix objects. Sorry. By gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Anton, sweetie, you're 12. You shouldn't have to worry about any of that. Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Olia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn, or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles that we had with the move and our parents. Oh dear goodness. And then Olia said she saw that giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. See, I love like it's so simple. Even just the little highlights of her eyes are moving. Ugh, love this art style. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick and to get those ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After tonight, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Just last night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect at my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of the new term. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all of the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped from the middle of their faces, and a pair of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creature were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with the icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? Oh, sweetheart, is this your past experience? Dear goodness. The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what, I just don't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who were just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. It felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the wall. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. Oh, you got a kitty cat. Is this one of his? No, I think that's a regular poster, but you can tell these are his. That's so good. This is awesome for a 12-year-old. This? A 12-year-old? Mwah. Magnifique. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around. Anton is not around." I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all? But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind a wall, cried like a baby from a big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my diseased family, with their ashen eyes, were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, and the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere on the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sounds of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It was not like someone is playing it there, amidst the cold, snowy night, right? What do we see? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with a dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around, and crawled on all fours. So it's kind of like you have like a bear, like a fox or a wolf, and then like a bird type, and oh, so cool. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music stopped. Uh-oh. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. No. No, 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 no. Okay, I was full on expecting a jump scare. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like a bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened as some unwanted guests moved and scurried around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. And now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remember the funeral. My grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp, like that of a Ken doll. Ants running up and down the legs of the chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing under her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. Anton, sweetie, calm down. You need a glass of water. I was chanting the spells she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Bouillon, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair for the spawn from Devil's Lair to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton. Anton? Evil leave this house must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Did Grandma make this little spell just for him? Because that would be really sweet. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. Did it work, Grandma? I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hangman. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood and demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently, as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them and I drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the night of darkness. And then... the knob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The knob tilted once more, and then... It started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. Oh my gosh. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now, oh no, no. Now you'll see. I don't want to see. The door's wide open. The darkness withered inside the carnivorous mouth of a doorway. Tony. Tony. As if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking its rusty hinges. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Tony. Tony. My abdomen tightened, and my chest rose up, ready to exhale in a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, "Ooh, Tony, are you asleep?" Oh my goodness, it's just her sister. Oh my gosh. My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. You and me both, Tony. Olia, I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olia frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. Oh, our sister is so cute. It's there again, staring at me. Shoo her away, Tony, please. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olia sobbed. Uh-oh. We're not doing a very good job as her big brother. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video Sleeping Beauty, for example. Oh, Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? Oh, so I don't know exactly how old Alia is, but I'm thinking she's like a good healthy 6 years old, and we know for sure that we're 12. And they just moved to this old house, and it's just living on the edge of a forest, and in winter spooky things are happening. That question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and I couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. Or it couldn't be fooled. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair. Tony, you coming? Yeah, just a moment.